there was kind of looking at your podcast and seeing the maybe objectives of your podcast, I guess. And it and because I look at each photo and there's like just a massive blunt in each one, and then like like LaCroix. So what's going on? What's the objective you got?
Uh, I kind of have a little bit of a weird setup, man. I got these Yeti mics. So I just essentially, like, when I bring other people on or anything like that, I pretty much have been just bringing on my friends and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and then I'll, like, I've hooked it up so I can have two Yeti mics and
Yeah.
everything. So I'm not as advanced as your situation yet,
Oh.
man, but I'll get there one
Well,
day.
I don't know how advanced this is. This
um,
broadcast arm I got on eBay for $25. So
oh
pretty
dang, dude,
schmick, mate.
it looks really nice, dude. But no, to your question, man, to your question, so that's just, it's just kind of the things I'm doing, right? So I try not to do anything, like, how do I put it? Like, for the
Mm-hmm.
podcast, right? I kind of just retrospectively will, like, take pictures or record things that I've done,
Oh.
you know? So I used to, when I was younger, man, I used to be a big fan of sodas, dude. I was always with the sodas, you know? And then over the past, like, 10 years, I've gone in between, right? I've completely cut them out. I've kind of brought them back in. But I just, soda's just not something that I can have a good relationship with. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
So I like that
Yeah.
carbonation. So the sparkling waters are just, they kind of scratch that itch for me.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm
I know
saying?
exactly what you
So
mean. Yeah.
yeah, dude. And then, I'm a big proponent or advocator of
Mm-hmm.
cannabis and, any facet. So, oftentimes you'll catch me, I'll roll up a blunt or I'll smoke a joint. And then I got a couple sparkling waters, might go for a walk or whatever it might
Mm-hmm.
be, try to take in the nature and stuff like that. So just a glimpse of some of the things I'm doing. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I appreciate you checking it
Yeah.
out, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I've recently stopped drinking like about maybe just before. Well, the last time I had a drink was New Year's Eve, and then
Oh,
and I've
nice.
been like I did it first as part of like a 30-day challenge, and then I decided
Yeah.
to I just kept going with it because I found like a completely different sort of feeling in terms of my mental state. Like I wasn't depressed,
Yeah.
and I found that I could go out with my mates who are drinking, and I could still hang out with them, and I was having just as much fun with them because they were chatty because they were drinking, but I
Yeah.
wasn't. And so the next day, like I would still go, I go home like 9 or 10 o'clock, and I wouldn't be tired the next day or hungover. But when you talk about that, hang on a second, my fucking phone. Um,
You're good, bro.
do
You're
not
good.
disturb. All right, so what when you talk about that carbonation to scratch that itch, I know exactly what you mean because I got one of those soda streams, and
Ah,
man,
nice.
I'll just never look back. But um, I've been noticing there's a weird placebo effect if I have non-alcoholic beer. You know,
Okay.
and
Feeling buzzed?
yeah, it's weird. Like I'll like if I have a like a if I chug a whole non-alcoholic beer, like I'll get this sort of fuzzy feeling in my stomach from it. And then I think in the
Yeah, yeah.
past I used to associate that with, with an alcohol content, but nowadays
Sure.
I don't know if it's this placebo or if it's just like the whatever is inside the beer that is sort of activating my stomach. I'm not sure.
Sure. Dude, I mean, just from looking at you right now, I mean, I can only see your head, but you seem like you're a guy who I mean, you seem like you work out, right? Am I right or am I wrong with
Yeah,
that?
I do. I work out
S-
anywhere from 6 to 7 days a week. So I'll get up at like 6 o'clock and try to be in the gym about 6:30 every day, and
Oh,
and
very
then
cool, man.
and then after that, it was if you go back like 2 years ago for myself, I wasn't like fit or anything. I was just a bit like squishy, and
Yeah. It's a nice
yeah,
adjective.
and it was a game changer for me when I started because I've always struggled with my weight, and it was a big game changer for me
Yeah.
when I started fasting. And so, right when I
Cool.
started fasting, I was able to really trim down and get to that uh, what is it, like that 6-pack that I've been looking for like my whole life.
Nice,
Like,
man.
and I've finally been able to get it. So I'll do the workout in the morning. I'll have like a smoothie, and then I'll skip lunch basically. That's what it is. I'll
Okay.
skip lunch, and then I won't eat again until about 4 or 5 o'clock. So throughout the day, and I've been doing it for so long. I've been doing it for the last like year or so, and
Okay.
I don't even notice it anymore. But in the beginning, it was tough. I'd have to drink water to calm it down. But it's been the only thing that's really been making a difference. And so just morning hits, no lunch, and then to be honest, I could eat really anything I want in for dinner, like anything. Like for the
Yeah.
most part, I eat pretty healthy, like veggie stir fries or salads or whatever it is, something really clean.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But um, yeah, but if I do eat something shitty, I don't feel bad about it. Like my body's like metabolism is just like going, and it's like sending a pizza through a wood chipper or something. It's just like wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
good.
for sure. And yeah, no, the reason, and that, a lot of good points there, right? And I definitely want to ask you a little about your fasting because, like, I do some stuff like that too.
Mm,
In terms of, when we're talking about that whole scratching the soda itch, and then your little experience with the ginger beer, like, do you think, and for myself, right, when you do something so routine, right, like you're working out, you're getting up, you're doing the same routine every day, right? And then do you think because you threw in something different, even though it's not alcoholic, right? But you threw in something different like a ginger beer that you might not have on a regular basis, do you think that might just alter like your mind chemistry or something like that a
mm.
little bit when you throw something different in there?
Yeah. I maybe it could just be like the sugar content because like most of the time if I were to have like a
Mm-hmm.
ginger beer or something like that or like a sugary drink or something like that on an empty stomach, I might get a sugar rush. In fact, like I went to
Right.
like I had a going away party for moving out here and everyone met me at a
Okay.
pub and but I wasn't drinking alcohol, so I'm sure I was like confusing everybody. But I was going to the I was going to the bar and I was asking for lemon lime bitters, which is like just Sprite bitters and lime. and
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
had them
yeah.
put it into like a wine glass so it looked like an Aperol spritz or something. And I was
Sure.
and but the sugar content from that Sprite was just so strong that I felt drunk. I don't know. It was maybe,
Yeah.
but in terms of like altering the mind, I don't know if it was. Do you mean like in terms of like any sense or just like my energy level?
No, I think it's just the way your body processes it. I think, like, I'll just use an example. Like, when I'll do something along the lines of a fast, right? It's like eight. It's like from after 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. the next
Mm,
day. I'm not eating besides
mm,
coffee,
mm,
right? Then 12 to 8 is like my eating
mm,
window. Um, and I generally eat similar things, right? Try to eat clean vegetables, yeah, white meats and things
mm,
like that, chicken,
mm,
turkey, no red meats. But sometimes, let's say like I'm not feeling it, right? I'm not feeling the meal prep one day, and I go get some Mediterranean food, right? Even though it's like meat and rice, like some of the things I normally eat, just because it's from outside, my body takes it in totally differently, right? It takes it in like I went out and ate a very cumbersome meal as opposed to just the clean things that
mm.
you and I are accustomed to eating. So my mind is different. I feel like my body reacts
Oh,
differently
really?
too. I've never experienced like what you're
Mm.
saying, but I'm just trying to like connect the dots here. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
for
saying?
sure. Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Like when you start talking about well, one thing works for another person in terms of diet and exercise. We're all not built the same. So like a lot of this, and
Yep.
whenever people ask me what I've done to get to where I've got, and they'll say, "Oh, I want to do what you do." You're like, well, okay. I mean, maybe you could, but it's not. It might not work for you because there's a lot of things to consider. Everyone's metabolism is different. People's blood types are different, so the way you process foods based on
Yeah.
that will be different. We all have different gut bacteria, and we all have different metabolisms based on age and exercise and dietary habits and whatever. So it's for me, it took me a very long time to figure out what worked for me personally, but it was also like
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't really believe in. You see so many people on Instagram and blah blah blah, like giving health and fitness advice, but it's never
Yeah.
going to be like a one all fits all for everybody, you know. And I've
Never.
just picked and chose whatever things work for myself just by doing experimentation and seeing that this seems to be working what I'm doing. But yeah, so you know, like you were saying, you know, if you bring in something extra to you, you feel a little bit different. For me, if I eat like anything that's like white carbs, like if I had like a
Yeah.
like moving, for example, I had a bunch of like COVID supplies that I just never ate. You know, it was like
Okay. Okay.
macaroni and cheese boxes, you know, which is first of
Yeah.
all a
Yeah.
ridiculous thing to bring into the Armageddon anyways, is to like bring really shit quality food.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
so I didn't want to throw it away, so I ate it. And the next day I felt so sluggish and like garbage because of it. But for
Mm-hmm.
other people it works, you know, so who knows?
Yeah.
Like what's to do? What's your routine?
Um. Yeah, in terms of, so I go back and forth, right? So I think for anyone who's on the fitness grind, right, and you're in it for the long
Hmm.
haul, similar to yourself, right? You go through these like peaks and troughs, right? You go through a lot of like fitness kicks where you're trying this thing out, and then you go through this time where you're trying this thing out, right? Like similar to yourself, I do that sober October thing,
Oh yeah.
and then I sometimes I'll run with it for a couple more months because I just love that feeling,
Mm.
But coming to the routine, like, on Sundays I usually try to meal prep
Hmm.
something. Like it's either like turkey, like ground turkey is what I did on Sunday. Just mix them up with some like taco seasoning. It kind of replaces that like flavorful meat, like carne asada type
Mm-hmm.
shit. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
Um, and then a bunch of brown
yeah.
rice and then spinach.
Hmm.
Right, that's pretty much lunch. The first meal I'll get into every day.
Sweet.
And then I do a lot of like, it's like the supplements. I feel like an old person, man. I feel like I'm 65. I
Do
do
you have
like
do,
I do like
do you have the Monday,
oatmeal and
Wednesday,
fiber.
Tuesday, Thursday, Friday meat pill box?
Dude, I'm not on that level yet, but I have a like a to-do list notebook every day. It's like fiber, oatmeal, apple cider vinegar. You know what I
Nice.
mean? I gotta get my. It's weird, man, because I have high cholesterol in my
All right.
family, so I'm constantly trying to combat it. And like I eat healthy, so I mean, whatever. So, I do that, and I try to I eat a lot of eggs too. Egg whites just to like get the protein in there. And then yeah, around like 4 or 5 p.m. every day, I'm doing like a workout. Like I do a lot of hit
Mm-hmm.
training. I just because I can't be going to gyms right now and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, or I don't go to gyms, so it's a lot of hit training, a lot of workout videos, and I got some weights and resistance bands,
Is that what
a pull up bar
is
and
this is that
whatnot.
still the case where you are? You can't go to gym still? Are they all closed?
No, they're open.
Yeah.
They're open. I just told myself I'll go back when I get like the
Oh,
vaccine.
okay.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I mean,
It's like the
I
Wild
just
West
the
out there,
idea of
man. You
going
just
there
don't
right
know who's
now,
carrying it, you know? And there's no regulation, is there? No
dude.
one's like giving a flying fuck about it, it seems, you know?
Dude, I walked into like a Potbelly's sandwich shop the
Oh,
other day,
Potbelly's
right?
sweet.
And
Love that place.
dude, yeah, man. um, when I walked in there, and there was I just had asked if I could use the restroom because initially a bunch of places were closed for indoor dining, right? And then they opened back up, closed back up. So I went, so they were open. I was just picking up some food, and I was like, "Yo, can I use the restroom?" And they started hysterically laughing at me, saying, "Dude, we're open for dining." And I'm like, I get it, but like, no, why isn't anyone in here wearing a mask? Like, I don't really understand what's going
Hmm.
on. So that's why I asked if I could use the restroom, because it seems like you guys are all off duty in here. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
it just seems like you guys are walking around parlaying
Yeah.
and shit. So I just, yeah, people are all over the place out here, man. Some people are really strict. Some people are on the other opposite end of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's got to be really stressful to kind of live in that sort of environment, man. Like I feel for my family over there cuz they
Yeah.
like in Montana where my mom and my brother are um they have a bit of a mix. You got some people out there who are like
Okay.
all about, hey, let's do the right thing for everybody else, but then you have other people who are like extreme coughing into people's face, trying to like show you that it's not real or some
Heavy
bullshit.
breathing. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Straight up, man. Straight up. How are things out there?
Well, it's to be honest, it's like it never happened.
Wow.
So you can go to dance clubs,
Oh
you can do
man.
everything. Every single thing you ever thought about doing, you can. And I mean, there are restrictions to
Okay.
like certain things, like weddings have a cap of like 100 people, but I
Sure.
mean, at the
Yeah.
same time, that's still a pretty good sized wedding, 100 people. I mean,
That should be the rule, COVID or not COVID, bro.
no,
Like
don't spend so much
when the
money on a
man,
fucking
right?
wedding in the first place.
Yeah, dude. Come on now.
Yeah, yeah, everything is great. I mean, there were some like border restrictions between the states here. So you'd have to get like a
Sure.
pass in order to go from different state lines. Now that's easier to regulate in Australia because of two things. One, there's not that many states, and
Okay.
two, there's not that many people. We got like 25 million people in Australia,
Okay.
and like I mean, half the country is like one state. It's Western Australia.
Ah, I
I mean,
got
it's the
you.
same size as the United States, right? The size of Australia is this,
That's what I was gonna
yeah,
ask.
but so a lot easier to kind of control the borders between here and there. But so
Wow, that's like a
yeah,
fraction of the population
I
out here,
know.
dude.
Yeah, it's crazy, and there's a lot of differences that happen here because of that. Like Medicare exists, for example.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
what else? There's even so I'm a business owner as well, and I've
Okay.
noticed that being a business owner here in Australia versus the United States, there's two different attitudes. I've always remembered in the States there were, if you were in business, the business attitude was to sort of fuck over the other people who were in the same business as you as a way of like being competitive in America. But in Australia, you could
Sure.
open up an accountant shop next to an accountant shop, and those two accountants are going to work together so that they both make money. And it's sort of like this opposite
Wow.
sort of feelings. Like, if we're wealthy together, well, why shouldn't we both benefit? And
I love
it's so
that, dude.
nice. It's just so peaceful.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, dude. I mean, capitalism here, it's always a slippery slope when you like, when I start talking shit about America
Mm.
because I live
Yeah.
here and you know
Yeah,
what
I
I
know what
mean.
you
Like,
mean.
I'm doing well and stuff like that. But the I feel like you can only understand the difference in mindset when you leave the
Yeah,
country, right?
100%.
When you go see that, oh, other people aren't worried about the shit I'm worried about
Mm.
here. Like they're not worried about like, I gotta be better than this person or I gotta have more than
Mm.
this person. I'm not saying there's not people like that out there, but it's just, when I go travel places, it's a breath of fresh air that, hey, dude, motherfuckers out here looking out for each other.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like they are a collective, and it's just a different perspective vibe
It
all
is,
around.
isn't it? Like, that's the interesting thing about Australia is because it's such a collection of countries mashed together, and there's people from Southeast Asia, from South America, from Europe, and
Yeah.
how I remember this in the States. Like my brother, he was dating an Irish girl, and I was like, "Oh yeah, like we're in Ireland," and he's like, "Oh no, she's from like her parents are like Irish." I'm like, "Yeah, but are they from Ireland?" She's like, "No, they're from like Boston." And I was like, "Oh, so they're American. They're not Irish. They're American." And then over here, you meet somebody who says, "Oh yeah, they're Irish," and they're actually like from Ireland. Yeah.
They hail from
So
Ireland.
I
There you
forgot
go.
about that when I was living in the States, about how everyone had such a connection to say like, "Oh yeah, well we're Italian." Like, no, you're American. You were born in America.
Yeah.
You're not. I mean, you might
Yeah.
have some Italian roots, but you're American at the same time. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Tell me a little bit about your transition out there, dude. I mean, I know when we connected on Instagram, we got some similar places that we've been to and lived in. So, man, I want to hear about
yeah.
how you got from where you were to like where you are now, dude.
Well, I was let's see here. I've been out here now for about 8 years. I came here
Okay. It's
in,
been a
yeah,
minute.
for a while, but I came here in June of 2013, and
Ah,
if I go back to a year before that, like June 2012, I was working for a hospital in the basement of a medical records department. No, the phones didn't work. There was no natural sunlight. It was just like, I mean, it was a good job in the sense that I worked 4 10-hour days and I had Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. So that was nice. But the fact remains that you sit there and you can't help but, have your mind wander about what else is out there. And I had a friend who came to Australia and he did a working holiday visa here. And he came back and he told me, he was like, look, man, he's like, I'll tell you about Australia. It's the minimum wage, I think at the time was like $17.50 an hour. There at the time there was more women than men. They were calling it a man drought, and I was single.
Oh, there you
go. And they like Americans, and I was like, sign me up, say no more. So I was gonna go in September that year, and then what happened is that my father actually passed away in August.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, dude.
And then I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to Australia. So I started looking into other things. I thought I was going to join the Air Force. And at the time they said, oh, well, it's like a 1.5 year wait to get in. And because I wanted to go in as an officer, because I had a degree already and I wanted to, be a little bit higher up in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, 1.5 years. I don't know if I really want to wait around for that. And I had already been approved for my visa to come into Australia. And the visa works like this. Once it's approved, you have 1 year to enter the country. And then once you enter the country, then your visa will start. And you have 1 year to be in the country. So I didn't think I was actually going to go. And then come June 2013, I actually entered the country with 1 day left before I could enter the country again. And when I got into Australia, they're like, you do know like your entrance was going to expire in a day, right? I was like, yeah, but I can still enter, right?
I'm here. What's up?
I delayed the process as much as I could. And I thought to myself, because there was a lot of things happening there. Like, after my dad passed away, there was a lot of, I don't know if I want to call it dependence on me, that it seemed like, family was leaning on me hard. And that's fine. I mean, it's a death, that's what happens. But it's so interesting to experience that once you experience death, you get open to so much life. And
that's a powerful
and
quote.
And that's what happened when I saw my dad go, was that, fuck, I'm going to die someday. And I just don't want to be doing this right now. And so I left. Nice. And I had, I wanted to just live my own life. I didn't want to be there I'll always be there to help, but I had to live my own life. And I came.
Yep.
I did a working holiday visa for a year, tried to get sponsored. So sponsoring is like, you find a job here and someone will give you another visa and say, you can work for us. And it's a sponsorable job, but they're kind of hard to come across. And for me, I have a degree as a graphic designer and animator, motion designer, whatever. And all that stuff was not a sponsorable job because it's usually outsourced to like the Philippines or India or something like that. And so there was no real sponsorable role in that. So after a year, I left and I went to Thailand. I went through Southeast Asia.
Oh, nice.
I don't know how far you want me to go in the story, but I can go pretty far.
Go in, man. I'm excited to hear it, dude. I didn't know about this Thailand experience.
Yeah, so I went to Southeast Asia. I went to Thailand. I met a girl in a hostel there from Latvia, and that's actually where my grandparents are from. And she was actually really surprised that I even knew where it was. And anyways, I met her and I kept on going. I went to Vietnam. I ran out of money in Vietnam. I was in this hostel and I was actually living on credit with the hostel. I kept on extending my stays and I said, do you want me to pay now? Like, oh, no. You you pay when you check out. And I was like, okay, I'm never going to check out. And I was still talking to her name's Kate, and I was talking to Kate, and I told her my situation. She said, well, I'm in Bangkok, and I'm trying to get a job here to teach English, and they're putting me up in an apartment. And she said, I'll pay your hostel and your flight from Vietnam to come to Bangkok, and you can stay here while you look for work. And so that's what I did. I was like, this person I barely knew, paid for my flight, and paid my bill in Vietnam. And then I went over to Bangkok. Wow. And I ended up teaching in Thailand for about 6 months or so. And it was all really thanks to her. And we actually became partners, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And then we went to New Zealand together for a year. I was in New Zealand, and between that, I had this big surgery. So I had this big surgery between Thailand and New Zealand. And I had to go back to the United States for it. It was like a kidney surgery. It was like a... Oh, okay. And I went back, and at the time it was under Obamacare. And what I got is this, what is it called? Medical insurance. Why did I forget that? And I got Blue Cross Blue Shield from Montana, and it had no pre-existing conditions. And the idea was it was a $300 premium, and they would pay 100% of the surgery. And so the surgery was going to be like a $30,000 surgery. And I had the surgery, recovered, went to New Zealand. I was in there for about 9 months. I was saving up money because I wanted to go back to Australia. And I got this phone call from my mom. She said, there's this check in the mail for you. And I said, what is it? And she said, well, I don't know if it's real or not, but it's a check made out to you for $16,000 from the hospital, from St. Patrick's Hospital. And I looked at it, and it turned out that my medical insurance had overpaid for my surgery. And in Montana, the way it works is that if you are the holder of a policy, then you actually get that money. That's your money. That policy paid out, that's your money. And so that turned out to be something like 30,000 New Zealand dollars. And I was like, holy shit, payday. And I took that money.
You on Forbes over there?
Right? I was like, woo. I was like working in a hostel. I only had like $1,000 saved up. I had no idea what I was going to do going to Australia. And I got that, and I ended up starting my own business in Australia with it, which is basically, it's just like an English language company. And
dude, that's awesome.
And then the idea though was, at that time in Australia, you could start a company, you can make a role for yourself in the company, and then you could sponsor yourself. And that was in October, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. So I did it. And then in January, the government here got rid of it. So after my application was already sent off in like December, in January they stopped it, and it was canceled. So I had to leave Australia again, and I moved back with my ex-partner at the time to Latvia for the summer, and then we moved to London, where I was just teaching privately, and then she decided she wanted to go back to school, so I jumped on her visa to come back to Australia. And I said, look, here's the deal. I will pay for your school if I can be on your visa coming back to Australia. So this would now be my third time back in Australia.
Yeah, I was like, man, you must really love it.
Man, you have no idea. Dude. It's like an addiction, And then I came here, and then I ended up, that was supposed to be like a 2-year visa. And then we ended up breaking up. And then I met my partner that I'm with now, who is actually she's now an Australian citizen, and she's from Manchester originally, and now we're going through the process of being because you can do a thing here called de facto visa, where if you're with someone for a year or more that is a permanent resident or an Australian citizen, then you could say, hey, we're together, and you can go on a what's called a de facto visa, and that slowly goes and turns into permanent residency. So it's been a long
Gotcha.
journey. There's been a lot of like ups and downs, back and forths, but in the process of it, and I've never intended to be like this, like a traveler. I just wanted to go
Yeah.
from America to Australia, done deal. In the process, I ended up
Yeah.
going to like some 35 countries and traveling the world 3 times, and
Wow.
now I'm here, and it's been a wild journey, I'll say, but
Yeah,
who
dude,
knows?
that is crazy, man. Who would have thought, dude? I just thought it was from Chicago to Australia when we touched base on
Yeah.
Instagram, man. But you went everywhere in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah, that's it. And it's so strange too, because the teaching that I would do is I teach people how to pass an English language test. So if you live in Australia
Okay.
and um if you're from a non-English speaking country, you have to take this English test to prove your English proficiency. And I teach people how to take this test for them to become permanent residents. But it's just so strange because I've been running that company since 2015, and yet I'm
Yeah.
still not, here permanently myself. It's so strange
Right,
about helping all these
right.
people get there, but like I'm still, here on like temporary visas or like, you know, and but now it'll
Yeah.
get there. So Australia, it's a fucking hell of a place, to tell you.
Yeah, man. That is a wild story, dude. That deserves a movie, you know what I'm saying? Or documentary at least. Um so tell me, man, when you what I'm interested to hear is, a lot of times you find out the most about yourself when your back's kind of against the wall, right? And one of the things I think pushed you as a triggering event was kind of your father's passing,
Mm.
right? Now, when you were in Thailand and Bangkok in those moments where you were in the hostel where you're like, bro, I'm about to run out of all of it in a
Yeah.
minute, right? What was running through your mind, right? Like you're in a different country, not your usual stomping grounds, and your resources are about to deplete. What's going through Pete's
Well,
mind, dude?
it's weird. It's almost like we do live in a matrix, because it felt impossible to fail. It felt impossible to fail. That there
Right,
was, if you were breathing and you had motivation, it's like they say, if there's a will, there's a way. If you have the
right,
intention to not do that, to not be there, you will find a way out. And when I was living in Australia for the first year, I went through so many ups and downs, of where I was like, "Fuck me, I'm gonna lose all my money again," um, and like for example, I got this job working out on an island around the Great Barrier Reef, and when I got there, it turned out it
right.
was a big scam. And after like 4 weeks of them not paying their
Damn.
staff, everyone quit and we had to leave. And I had no money, and I was in this hostel, and this guy came up to me and he said, "You look like you could use a beer." And I said, "Okay." And he got me this gigantic pitcher of beer. And it was like 4 liters of beer. And he's like, "I don't know what your troubles are." He's like,
Damn.
"But I do know you're going to find it at the bottom of this jug." I was like, "All right." I had half of it. And I was like, "Oh, I wonder if this hostel here is doing work for accommodation." So I went into it, trying not to have them smell my breath. And I said, "Hey, are you guys doing like work for accommodation?" They said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you want to hire me?" They said, "Yeah." I was like, "Great, sorted." So that night I had
Ah,
accommodation. And then I finished the rest of the beer, and then I got a text from one of the girls that I knew on the island, who said, "Look, there's a Thai restaurant that's always hiring Westerners because they can't speak English well enough in order to take the orders. So, I used to work there. Maybe you can go and just drop my name and you can get a job." And I was like, "Great." So I walked over there and did the exact same thing. I said, "Hey, I hear you're hiring." They said, "We are." It's like, "Do you want to hire me?" They said, "Okay." And I was like, boom. I was like, "My God, that guy was right." I found fucking, accommodation and a job at the bottom of this jug of beer. And but that's just an example of like how sometimes you get to a point, and then like something will always happen, something will always bring you back up. And so when I went through that like a couple of times in Australia, and because when you're a working holiday visa here, you're pretty much um, you don't have full rights. You don't have people who take advantage of you a lot because you're kind of new to the country, and there will always be scammers out there to like You say,
Yeah.
hey, well, it'll be better if we pay you less than this because for taxes. It's all scams. And so you learn, you get wise
Yeah.
to it after a while. But it was, but when by the time I got to Thailand, I just reached a point of complacency where I just didn't seem to care because I knew that something would happen in order to bring me back up again. So I didn't really have this fear anymore. It was more of like, oh, something will happen, and I just believed in it that something would happen, and something
Yeah.
did. It just keep going, and and
Yeah, man.
that's how it's been a few times, here. So yeah,
Dude.
the mindset of it is just unless you've experienced it before. Obviously, the first time you find it, you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, the but after life experience and doing it a few times, you realize that you literally can't fail. You'll get close, but you just it's I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if someone's playing a video game or what, but it is
Yeah.
like I get close every time, but I always seem to pull myself back up again. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, there's like an energy I feel like that I don't know if I don't want to say it saves people, but it prevents you, right? So like until you flatline, man, you better keep trying, like there's got to be a will, there's got to be something that you do that brings you up, And I think in today's world, you know, people want to say that they go through those trials and tribulations, right? I'm not saying everyone doesn't or everyone does, but what we experience as like a learning opportunity or an inconvenience is not really that bad in the grand scheme of things,
Mm,
right? But I think everyone needs that time where they feel like they don't have any support, right? They feel like it's just them, right? And that's when your true colors come to light, man. When it's you and you're the only one here, right? But people, I think, are afraid to maybe put themselves in that
mm-hmm,
situation and see what could happen. But in any situation where you kind of just peel back all the layers and you're there by yourself, you're gonna learn,
yeah.
dude, right? You're gonna learn by what? Maybe fall on your
Mm,
face. You might learn that way. Something good might happen,
mm,
right? But I don't know. I love connecting with people on this whole podcasting
mm,
journey just because, right, dude, the story that you just told me is something super profound, man. And it kind of restores your faith in humanity just to hear that, look, there's people helping you out when you thought you were about to go broke or you thought you were about to live on the
mm.
streets. Somebody sent some good energy your way, bought you a beer, and that kind of just turned your whole world around, man. It's always endearing to hear those types of things.
Yeah, it is. Thanks for that, man. It's really it is a bit strange, isn't it? How the world works, but it's you're right. It does give you sort of that sense of hope for humanity. Hey, because we need it now. You know what I mean? More than any
Oh,
time.
dude.
Um, and that's another thing I noticed too here in Australia is like when COVID happened, still is happening, but when it first happened, everyone was just so like neighborly. It was
Mm-hmm.
such a sense of community of we, and that was such a nice feeling and such a good job I feel that this country has done in terms of banding together and to face a challenge that required everyone to work together, and we fucking did it. Like we did it.
Yeah.
Like it's such a like I don't think people here are really patting themselves on the back enough to realize like how well they did, because you
Yeah.
look at places like Melbourne and in Victoria where they got hit the most. So for like where I was living in Brisbane, and we only had like 6 weeks of lockdown, and really after 2 weeks it kind of softened up.
Yeah.
It was pretty easy going, and but because everyone was so compliant, they were able to squash out things, and now we live in a COVID free society for the most part here. Melbourne had an issue because of the population there living on top of each other, and so that was hard at first,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
went through almost a year of lockdown, and and I used to live there, and I could only imagine how hard that would be. And I got friends who were there, and like my heart goes out to them that they had to go through that. And but
Yeah.
still, their compliance of we was able to make that now a COVID free state as well. without vaccines, you know,
Yeah.
and with the
I mean, I think from the sorry, go ahead.
well, without, but you know, with the appropriate things, you know, by wearing masks or using hand sanitizer or keeping your distance apart, or you know, just doing what you're supposed to do during a goddamn pandemic, you know. And
Yeah. That sense of entitlement seems like it's not there. You know what I mean? That it's more like I'm gonna put my ego aside and do something for the greater good here, which maybe is not the case here. I feel like the type of person that you're describing is someone who would really go against the grain here in the United States, right? I find very few and far in between, people who are like very concerned. Not to say they're not out here. There's a good people here,
for sure.
But it's a little bit different, man. I think the only way we were ever gonna get out of this is with a vaccine, right? Because, like, for example, me and my fiance, we haven't gone anywhere, right, for over a year now. Like, we don't go out. We go outside for groceries, but no like erroneous or no like frivolous activities.
How does that affect your mindset? Like, are you all right?
Oh, dude, it was. I want to say that it's a lot of just. I might be handling it the wrong way, but I just don't address it head on. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
I keep myself busy. So, like, I read a lot. I work out. I stretch. I try to meditate. I try to fill my time with positive things. But sometimes that fatigue can build up, right? It's like working out, right? So right now I'm on a rest week. So I've been working out for like 3 months straight without rest days. And so, like, I'm on a rest week. And now it's kind of like that with quarantine. It's like, dude, I need to stop doing these, like, all these positive things and address my emotions. Like, how are you feeling about it? Ration through it. It's like a lot of conscious effort. I have to be intentional, even with my relationship. Like, I have to make sure that I'm good, but also she's good, and that we're good together.
Yeah,
you know.
Exactly.
So I have to take. It was a good practice in taking charge, man. Like, you're in charge of your outcomes, right? There's this energy that we don't know exactly what's going to happen to us, but I think we're in charge of our outcomes, man. And I can keep myself in a good space if I want to.
Yeah.
You know. But it takes.
It does. It's like I've seen that. What is it? It's like a meme somewhere that says, like, choose your hard. You know, for example, working for yourself is hard, but working for another person is also hard. So basically, choose your hard. Eating and becoming overweight is a difficult thing to deal with. Going to the gym every day is also a difficult thing to deal with. So which one do you want to choose? Yeah. Life is hard. It takes an effort, whether we like to think that being lazy takes an effort or not. There is an effort that will have to be made later down the road. It's like a big credit system or something that you're kind of taking onto yourself for your body. But for everything, you really are in charge of yourself. I say it all the time as like a joke.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
like, Oprah says that the only person you can change your situation is you. Nobody else. It's only up to you.
Yeah, Oprah's out here spitting fire.
Yeah, that's right. As usual, as per usual. Yeah.
Yeah, man, dude, it's interesting, dude. Like, I definitely I don't want to be like cynical towards other people, right? But even our interaction that we're having right now, right? For nothing about it am I gonna put on you, right? Nothing about my emotions, my feelings of this conversation or before or after am I gonna put on you, right? I'm in control of them. So if I wasn't open to hearing new experiences, meeting new people, we would have never connected. I would never heard this great story that you have to share with me, right? And you would have never connected with me. So, like, in that sense, right? I'm going off on all these tangents, but I'm reading this book by Malcolm Gladwell called Blink. I don't know if you read it.
No, I haven't.
No. So it's a book about a lot of different things, but it's all about changing your instinctual reactions to things, right? And how do we do that? We put ourselves in environments that are going to promote things, right? So, for example, if I'm constantly doing a positive lifestyle, my reactions to things will be positive. My subconscious, unconscious reactions will be positive because I'm constantly engaging in positive things. Now, if I was engaging in negative things, my reaction to something might just be negative, right? So it's all about perception, all about like what you're putting yourself around, what do you choose to engage in, and what do you choose not to engage
Yeah.
in. You know what I'm saying? So like, for me, it's all about working out, meeting new people, traveling, experiences, things like that. Other people could be different, right? Could be money, could be wealth. Those things aren't wrong, but your reactions do follow, man. So, yeah, dude, I've been on this whole new mindset thing over the past couple of years. So I'm just running with it, bro. Just running with it.
That's
Big
good.
time.
Yeah, because it's like we were saying, we just don't know what sort of long-term effects this, lockdowns and the anxiety that is caused by the trauma that is this pandemic. A lot of people say, "Oh, where's the trauma? You're just staying at home watching Netflix." Yeah, but we're all putting ourselves into like self-isolation. Like it's either there's going to be an upsurge in astronauts after this is all done with, because, or we're all gonna have there's going to be a big need for mental health in the future, which has been something that the United States has always struggled with in terms of private health care. They don't even cover mental health benefits, which is absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that we need it, even in Australia, it's needed. There is mental health benefits that exist here, but the right now the leading cause of death for Australian men is suicide in Australia right now.
Oh, wow.
And that has an effect based off of trauma that has occurred from from COVID. You even look at the statistics for alcohol sales. When COVID happened, alcohol sales went up about 200%, but they sustained. They haven't gone down.
Oh, that's forward thinking.
So
right
now
there.
you
Yeah.
can see that people are now addicted to substances that they got attached to during lockdown. And it doesn't take long to get addicted to substance. It just takes like 21 actions or something like that in order for you to get it. And so that's something that is going to affect the society that we live in based off of coming off of that. Let's say if you want to reduce your alcohol content, there is going to be a breaking period you're going to have to go through. That could either, for some people it'll kill them, for some people it'll be a whole new revelation and they'll be able to be fine. But when you look at other countries, you look at the UK, you look at America, you look at Europe, and there's got to be like, the world that we knew is gone. It's gone. It's going to change, and it has changed, and we have to be okay with that. So whenever I hear people saying going back to normalcy, there is no going back to where we came from. And I hate when I hear that so much. Like, let's just go back to normalcy. For one, it cuts off the idea that, and it refuses to acknowledge the fact that people are in need of help since that. Yeah. But also, from a positive side of everything, it stops people from having a growth mindset of being able to change. So to always go backwards is a terrible idea. We need to grow from this and learn from mistakes we've made. And there is no going back. There's only going up, or there's going down. And I really want to be a big proponent to people who are afraid of change. Don't be afraid of the change that happens, because it could be good for you later down the road. Like the change I've had from the experiences I've had when I was afraid of losing everything through travel, it's only made me a stronger person. There's this there's the Navy SEALs. They have a motto that is forged through adversity, and that's where a lot of us are. But if we concentrate, like you said, on the negative, we're not going to be forged through adversity. We're going to be crippled by it. And so, let's sort of acknowledge the fact that we went through a hard time, but let's try to learn from it and grow from it and help each other, not to be stunted from the trauma of what it is to be in isolation. Because when we get out of it, I mean, I felt it after 6 weeks. Jesus, it was weird going and like talking to other people because you thought like, oh, you're
Yeah.
gonna give me a disease, you know?
Dude. Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, people, you make a lot of good points, right? And I think it's it varies from person to person, but for so long, and I agree with your normalcy point, right? Because we should not revert. Never should we revert. I think we should always be pushing forward. What's next for us, And this was a trial, and the fact that anyone who made it out alive, I'm sure you learned something, right? Now run with that. Run with what you learned. I think what happens is, and I experienced it a lot because, right, we've been in quarantine for a lot longer than 6
Yeah.
weeks, right? And what happens is like, if you think about, and I work in corporate America, right? So if you think about your standard corporate individual, right, that nuclear family, wife, husband, 2, 3 kids, they have a house, got a lot of bills to pay, things of that sort. What I found what was happening was their ego, in a lot of sense, was heightening at work, right? Because there was the volume of life was turned down significantly, right? There wasn't the, oh, I gotta drop the kids off at school. There wasn't, oh, I got this hair and nail appointment here. There wasn't, oh, I gotta go visit family, because all of that was taken off the table, right? So some people responded positively. They did some introspection. Oh, here are my negative tendencies. Here are my positive tendencies. Here are my opportunities, and here are my strengths, right? I found a lot of other people turn the volume up on their ego, right? Because they had so much extra energy in them, they took it out in negative ways, right? Being more demeaning and how to put it, overbearing in the workplace and just in general, So it's interesting because to me that's reverting even farther back than what quote unquote normalcy was,
Yeah.
right? But for me, I've taken this opportunity to hone in public speaking skills, right? Hone in my networking, hone in just my overall like ingenuity when I talk to somebody, just like really diving in. Not to say I'm some guru on the shit or anything like that, but yeah, to your point, man, it's just, we just kind of push forward. There's no other option, I feel like, in life but to just push forward and just do the next thing. If something's hard, do it, man, because you're going to learn from that, things like that. Don't take the scenic route sometimes.
Yeah, that's it. Like, if you go and do putting yourself out of your comfort zone, that's a good thing, like, because you're learning from it. Like, and the thing I've noticed from me teaching adults, right, because that's who I primarily teach when I'm doing this English test,
right,
is that adults want control. And when you don't know something, you don't have control. And sometimes that's okay, because whenever you learn something new, you're going to have to, it goes against everything that you sort of are when you're in the moment, because you don't feel confident about what you're doing. It's new and it's strange and you're not used to it. And we kind of want to stay where we are. But if we stay where we are, let's say, for example, if I lived in the 1950s and I really like typewriters. Well, there might be a case where, in the early 2000s, that was really cool and you were a hipster, but it's not really going to get you anywhere else, throughout life. You're going to need a laptop or something. You're going to have to learn the transition period from typewriter to a laptop, because if you stay in the same spot, you're just going to be like this, this old fossil that doesn't learn how to use a fucking phone. And then you won't be able to adapt to the world you live in anymore. And, but so definitely growing is, with adults, they don't want to be put in their outside their comfort zone. But it's the main thing I really wanted to talk about in this was that when you look at what's happened in lockdown, you have so many people sort of having the ability or the opportunity to learn something new, to, like you said, like, it sounds like you're doing some really cool stuff, being able to do that personal development that keeps you in a positive mindset. You taking that extra step to go there. But a lot of people instead, they quiet that voice in their head to do that, and they cover it up with alcohol, they cover it up with anything else, any other distraction.
Yep.
And just so that they don't have to think about it, and then once their mind is thinking about it, they just keep medicating it. And sometimes you just need to not medicate it and let it go,
Run with it, man. And if you got good friends, they'll nurture that, like they'll listen to that. And if you feel like you're saying something stupid, and they won't take it, go to therapy, man. Everyone could use from some therapy and just like having a objective outlet to like get your thoughts out, right? I think, a lot of us don't do that. We're not comfortable. Like you said, we want that control and we might feel stupid, but dude, if you're not approaching life as a student, I feel like you got it wrong, bro. Like at no point in life should you be like, I know this shit. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, if you have different traits, things like that, but you should never sit around saying, "Dude, I got life figured out, man."
No,
dude,
you never will.
You definitely don't.
Yeah, even when you're old and on your deathbed, you probably didn't figure it all out, And
dude,
and if there are people out there who need therapy, right? There are a lot of like services out there where people can benefit from. But if you needed to pay, I always know that there's always something in your mind that will come up with an excuse for you not to seek help. And whether that's money or your ego, you got to keep in mind that you can always afford therapy if you really look at your budget and what you're spending your money on. If you're spending your money on, if you're making Costco runs, which by the way, the deals you can get at Costco for alcohol, unreal. But it's not a thing here, not in Australia. Alcohol is crazy expensive here. So yeah, it's crazy expensive.
Okay.
Like a liter of Captain Morgan would be I don't know, close to like $70 or something like that. Yeah.
Damn. for
Captain Morgan, yeah.
Huh?
So, but let's look at that. If you were to not spend money on as much alcohol, which I know is a lot easier said than done, because alcohol is addictive. You could save up money to go to a therapist. Or let's say if you like Uber Eats, maybe just don't do that anymore. Learn how to cook.
There you go.
There's a lot of these things that it's harder. It's easier said than done, but to make these little efforts in order to help yourself, because at the end of the day, you really have to make a difference in yourself. Love yourself.
Yeah, man. 100%. And you really got to promote self-love a lot. And I think sometimes I feel like somebody who's listening to us talk right now, right? So I would say we both understand fitness as a pillar in our lives, right? And I think it carries over into a lot of other things that we do. So maybe two people who didn't work out, who are listening to us, are like, "Yo, fuck
100%."
They're just like they're up in the clouds, like talking motivationally. You know what I mean? Like, fine, But what's interesting is when you work out, right? However you're gonna work out, lifting, whatever it is, you have to understand the moving pieces, right? You have to understand. All right, I'm doing a back day. I'm going to do 4 sets of 12 reps, what have you, right? And then I got to take the protein to fuel myself, whatever it is. You understand the moving pieces. Now, I fundamentally believe that methodology should be applied to everything in your life, right? You should understand the moving pieces of your personality, of your work, of your relationship. You should understand what's making it good and what's dwindling it a little bit, right? And that's why I personally love working out. So anyone, I know it's not a one size fits all, but anyone who is having trouble like mentally, I'll say, hey, look, work out with me. Let's do it. Stick to it. Do it 30 days. Do it 21 days with me. Or if you can't do it with me, I'm going to text you when I do it. Just do something at that time. Stick to it. Now you form that habit. Let's say it's walking. You walk 2 miles a day. Now, you're going to understand the difference between a good walk and a bad walk, right? You're going to understand what'd you do to have a good walk, and why did you have a bad walk on the day you had a bad walk? Whatever it might be. Understand how to put yourself in a good mindset. Understand how to get good outcomes, and then go from there, dude. Make it your own. But, at baseline, know what is working and what is not working in your life. And I feel like a lot of people just don't do that inventory, man. They're not understanding like what's detrimental to me, what's positive for me. And it's hard to be objective and impartial when you're looking at your own progress, let alone somebody else's. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. There's another thing too that I found really helps for happiness is that I can start off my day and I could just be really grumpy and miserable, and my partner could like attest for that. And God bless her, she really puts up with a lot of shit from me, especially in this move. I've just been the grumpiest pile of garbage. But it's so even for someone who like myself, I meditate daily and I eat right and I've been off alcohol and I've been doing exercise. I'm still gonna have bad days, and I find that what has it like what will always help me, what'll and that's me communicating with somebody else during my day. So if someone who doesn't know any of the shit that I've been going through, so you could do that through, I find it a lot through doing my private teaching. So I'll talk to my students for like 2 hours, and at the end of it, my attitude is completely different. Like I'm back to normal. I'm able to talk to people. I'm able to laugh, and it just completely changes my mindset. If and other ways too as well, like if you volunteer, where you get to chat with other volunteers, or if you're getting to do this, it's going to distract you from those things, and you're going to kind of get out of that sort of grumpy mindset or that negative state. I just find it always happens. Communicate with other people, whether that's that could be your therapy, for example. Go volunteer, or something, just to get yourself to communicate. It is so unnatural the way we live nowadays. Like we used to live as in tribes, and we used to communicate and we would have a purpose. But if let's say if you go and you volunteer in the jungle or something, you're not going to have any depression because everyone's got a purpose. And everyone's communicating with each other. You're part of a community. But when we live at our houses by ourselves in this cube outside of nature, that is loneliness. You're cutting yourself off from nature, and you're not around your other people. And so there's something to be said to that.
Yeah.
Your computer is not going to give you warmth. Other people will do that.
Yeah, we're not meant for this. We're not meant to just be sitting inside all day. We're primal. We got to get out.
That's
we
it.
got to interact. And do you find, so aside from your partner, in terms of, I just want to dive into that, communication thing a little bit, because that's a really good note. So do you find, like, let's say, Pete, you're having a bad day and then you talk to your students. Are you turning your day upside down because you're like, hey, look, I'm not going to give these students the shitty version of me or the upset version of me? Or is it like, yo, I'm going to give them the upset version of me, and through this conversation, through teaching them, I'm going to turn it upside down? Or is it because you brought this jovial Pete to the table because you're like, yo, I can't expose someone who has no background here to this like bad day that I'm having?
Yeah, I see what you mean. That's a good point. I think it is probably because when I'm teaching, I am giving a service. And so I think at first the smile is being forced on in order for me to do it. And then through that, I actually end up really feeling it towards the end. Yeah.
It's a little combination of both there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because I never want to give somebody like a shit version of me who's paying for me, and yeah.
Sure, yeah.
And when somebody who's coming into your life who has nothing to do with like your situation, why would you treat them like garbage? I suppose that's the whole difference. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, man. It's tough.
Yeah. But so I have this thing I was gonna do, because I have these series of essays that I write, and what I do is I try to introduce them with a little announcer, and I kind of wanted to share one with you today. Give me 1 second here. I usually have it pulled up, but on my side I got a little distracted this morning. So here we go.
No, that's a cool little hobby, man. I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, okay, this will be a good one. Okay, let me just pull this up. 1 second. Okay. Here we go. So roll the intro.
So I'm not hearing anything.
Oh, you're not? You're not hearing anything?
No, I'm not hearing anything.
That was awkward. Okay, let's see.
I could tell that you were like going in, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm just gonna let him ride with it for a little bit."
Well, we'll just have to like cut that awkward silence for a second. Let's see here. Okay, wait. Let's try this. Let's try that. Okay, wait. Can you hear this? Nothing?
No, man, I cannot
God
hear
damn
that,
it. This
no.
happens sometimes when I'm on Zoom.
Zoom fucks everything up, dude. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I know. You know, I was wondering actually. You know, when you record audio sometimes on Zoom, it's like only like 32 like kilohertz, and like I try to get at least like 44 kilohertz. So I'm always like, you know, backing up on a different program in the background. But I'm wondering, is there like a video conferencing program that records high quality audio that you know of? Because like Zoom, because sometimes I'll meet with people who you know are not on a podcast, and they'll just be plugging into, and I got to deal with their shitty audio. So
whenever I've done a collab, and I've only done one other one, it's been on Zoom, and then like I'll do like kind of what we're doing now. Like I'm recording my audio on my Mac through like QuickTime, so it's high quality, and then like I got my AirPods in on the Zoom call, you know. So I'm pretty archaic with the way I'm going about it.
Yeah, because I wonder about the other people on the other end. Because if I go through, anyways, if there's not a need, I'll find a need. I'm sure there's got to be something out there for this situation. Okay.
There definitely has to be, man.
Yeah. Well, I'll just play the what do you call it? The intro. I'll dub it in, and then we'll just pretend like we heard it.
Oh, 100%, man.
Okay,
Let's do
great.
that.
All right.
Yeah, you gotta let me into that though. I definitely want to hear that whole essay. You want to tell me a little bit about it?
Well, okay. So this one,
Or is it worth
so this
experiencing?
essay today is about a potential sponsor that I almost had, and
Okay.
so here we go. There's a little collection about it. All right. So, I lost my income lately, and not due to COVID or any other responsible or I couldn't help it type of situation. What it was poor planning on my part, and I quit my job without having a backup plan. I was like, fuck this job. Oh, fuck me. I have no money. So don't feel bad for me. I just did this part of my life poorly. So what I was doing is I was doing labor work, and it fucking sucked. The reason it sucked was because I didn't really have a trade skill like a welder or carpenter, or in perfect Australian, a boilermaker or chippy. So since I didn't have a skill, I qualified to only be a trade assistant, or in perfect American, the construction bitch. I clean up after people, watch people work. Today I spent an hour getting the tea stains out of one of the guy's mugs, and they pay me for this. It's slightly humiliating, yes, more than doing stand-up. And so I won't go looking for another job, as I have a graphic design background. And I called a recruitment firm and sent my CV, and they called me for an interview with a company, an adult diaper fetish company. I wish I was joking. This is actually a real situation. My choice of work right now is to either clean tea stains out of people's mugs who are on parole, or make social media content for people who will be on parole. So look, no judgments. If you like wearing diapers, shitting yourself, and being treated like a baby until you come, I mean, to each their own. So what did I do? Well, let me just say, if you use the code word Winkler at littlesdownunder.com.au, you get 15% off at checkout. That's a real website. That's a real code word. Get yourself some diapers. Littles Down Under. not just for good sexual parenting, but you can now go on for long road trips, and guess what? No need to stop for a bathroom break. Stuck in a funeral? Take a little down under underneath that little suit. Want to change the world? Well, this is not the product for you. You want your money's worth at Sizzler, however? All you can eat? Consider it now all you can shit. Am I right? littlesdownunder.com.au. Touching children when they're adults, so it's not illegal. You wouldn't let anyone who is into baby play anywhere near your kids. But if you're into being dressed as a baby and fucked, that is a secret you keep to yourself because you will be judged. You can't casually drop that at a Thanksgiving dinner. So, Bob, what do you do when you're not working? Well, I access my inner child. Oh, how so? I wear diapers and drink warm milk from a bottle. Right. Well, it looks like the turkey isn't the only thing around here that's getting bashed. Am I right, Bob? All right. Little's Down Under. Check them out. The end.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, that was dope,
man.
bro. I'm definitely about to go order me a nice adult diaper, dude. Blow me a big load. Little's Down Under. But maybe not, because he didn't sponsor Pete, you motherfuckers.
Oh man, I tried so hard. I tried so hard to get them to come in here, but then I realized that maybe sponsorship is not the way, because what if they want to sort of change the way that I approach things? The way
Dude, what if you start doing podcasts about fucking diapers all the time, dude?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that it's a bad thing,
Yeah.
but I don't know. You seem to have
I was thinking it'd be kind of funny actually to get a group of my friends together and do a podcast where we all wear the diapers and just to see if they actually work.
Hell.
Just to sit around in a circle.
Just like direct eye contact.
Yeah. And get someone to like we'll there'll be like a kiddie pool, like one of those plastic ones, and like get someone to stand in it and be like, all right, give it a test run. Let's see what happens.
Over there, dude, squatting in the corner. But that's it. Man, dude, that was a good one though, dude. That was really, really witty, dude. And it actually went on for some time, and I thought it was gonna fizzle out at some point, but it came back around,
thanks,
bro.
man.
I like that.
Thanks for that.
You got a knack for that.
Cheers.
Dude.
I kind of fucked up on a few parts, so I don't know, but it's all work in progress.
It made it more real.
Real.
It made it more. It made
more
you more
honest,
real to me, dude. You can't be reading that, dude. If you don't read without stuttering here and there, man, you're a fucking robot. You're a serial killer. So
yeah, you definitely killed like little creatures when you were a child or something.
He dismembered ants and shit like that, dude. So can't be doing.
I met a guy one time in a hostel, and he was talking about how he used to like find like field mice and stuff, and then he would used to throw like cinder blocks like on them, and I was like, man, like that's some serial killer shit. And he was like, what? No. Like, I was like, no, like that's how all serial killers start off. They start off by killing and dismembering like little animals.
Little animals, dude. That's exactly fucking probably Ted Bundy's story, dude. Like when he was a kid killing little animals.
Yeah,
dude.
like there was something that happened here in Brisbane like a few months back where someone was like throwing out like poison sausages in like the dog park, and like dogs were like,
why to the dogs?
Yeah, I know,
man?
right? Like that's like a serial killer in training right there, I think, for sure. Just to see that, because if you were to, I mean, I got a cat, and cats or dogs, whatever, animals are all great, but I could not imagine like having that cat die. Like my heart would be like absolutely like taken out of my chest, Indiana Jones style.
God, dude, you can't, bro. How are you gonna like get into the behavior of an animal that doesn't know better, dude? Throwing poison sausages, that is maniacal.
It is.
Dude.
Yeah, it's
that
fucked
is
up.
Like evil.
Yeah.
Nah, I can't be doing all that, dude. Oh my gosh. So how'd you start getting into that whole essay thing? Is it just for the sponsors things, or is it something you just like kind of like doing?
Well,
with
when I was younger, I used to write a lot more, and I just recently got back into it, and then I thought to myself, this could be a good option to give me a reason to write more, was to have sort of essays prepared, and I have a bunch of these like from before I started podcasting, and so now they seem kind of random, and I kind of like the idea of us talking about something deep, and then me kind of ruining the maturity of it by talking about adult diapers or farts or something. And however, I think in the future what I'll do is I'll probably write an essay that is sort of slightly on the theme of like whatever I'm about to talk about with that person, I think. But I got this guy to do sort of like bulk buy on Fiverr, and he does like an old British wizard voice as the introduction to all of these things, and it sounds really funny to me. And so he'll introduce those things, but I had him do like 6 of them at a time, so I'm kind of like I'm invested to finish these right now.
Oh, dude, yeah, you're deep in for sure, dude. Sure.
But the more I plan,
yeah, man, that sounds pretty dope.
Yeah. So what do you do yourself, man, when you're not doing podcasting?
You know, I was like really starting to embark upon this travel kick that I was getting on, right? So I was starting small, you know, like about 4 years ago. You know, went to like Atlanta for a couple of days, went over to San Diego for a couple of days. Me and my fiance would just plan trips for each other for our birthdays and anniversaries. Went over to New Orleans for a little bit. Actually, I went to Macau and Hong Kong for a buddy's bachelor party back in 2017, which was fun. Yeah, so I used to do that. I went to Iceland, Scotland, Ireland, England. So just like I was really getting on that, right? So, but then that all kind of halted. So, you know, right now it's just a lot of like I said, it's like a lot of reading. I'm a big soccer guy, so I'm always watching, you know, highlights from the Premier League and La Liga and everything like that.
Who do you follow?
So you know, my favorite Premier League team is Chelsea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a Barcelona fan too, but I'd probably have to go with Chelsea if you would have asked.
Yeah,
me.
I used to live right next to the Chelsea club, like in I was in Hammersmith, like, and it's close to like Fulham and everything, where what all of it is. Yeah,
dude. I was supposed to. So last year, me and my fiance were supposed to get married.
Oh right.
But we ended up having to postpone our wedding because of the COVID and everything like that. And my buddies were supposed to take me to a Chelsea game in London for my bachelor party. Sweet. And I was like super excited, man. But we kind of had to scrap that because they paused the Premier League for a little bit. But I was about to be on some hooligan shit out there, dude. You would have caught me.
Some green street shit, huh?
No bottoms, dude. Yeah, dude.
Pretty bubbles.
Up, yeah. I was about to go wild. Yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious. Yeah, man. The Chelsea fans, man, are wild. They're a wild group.
Yeah, dude. It's just I've been to a game. I've been to a Real Madrid Barcelona game in Madrid or in Barcelona, and the energy is just there's no words for me to describe it to you, bro. Like when it's a packed stadium, everyone is like just so passionate about the sport, you know, like it's life over there. And it's just something to be a part of, man. It's like a good experience and shit like that. And, you know, throw a few drinks in there, dude. It's probably going to be a really good time, you know? So, I mean, yeah, man, that's about it. Just been trying to keep myself busy, dude. You know, I journal a lot, dude. I just try to stay on my shit, dude. Try to stay in a good headspace. But yeah, I don't know. It's been an interesting year and a half or so, man.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll all come down to an end, so we can do some different things, you know, in terms of get back out and go traveling again. It's a big issue that I worry about, because if you know, what countries are going to be allowing other people from what countries in the future, you know, and let's say, for example, if like a travel bubble opens up between Australia and New Zealand, will I be able to go if I'm on an American passport still? You know what I mean? Because if things aren't getting any better over there, might not get any better for me over here. You know, everyone else around me will be fine, but I'll be living in my own sort of like world of, you know, discrimination because I have an American passport. And that'll be quite the eye-opening experience, because I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of people out there who have that experience currently, even before COVID. But it's, you know, hopefully that won't be forever, you know?
Dude, 100%. So one of my distant cousins. So her husband went to India, right before COVID
Right.
started, and that was like in 2020, dude, right? And so they had a kid. That kid is over a year old now, and that motherfucker still
Oh
is there
shit.
in India. Hasn't been able to come back because he had to file some kind of passport shit. I don't know the nuances, but he sent his passport in, and the embassy closed down over there. So his passport is
What,
just
hanging in a
like,
drawer somewhere?
I don't just yeah, dude. It's just like in someone's back pocket or
Oh
some shit
my
like that,
god. What a nightmare.
right? Bro, imagine like how fucked up of a situation. It's like you're missing like integral parts of your child's like growth. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It is just a year, but it's like, dude, babies are the cutest,
Mm.
man. Like you missed them during that time, but I feel bad. It's just real
I
fucked
had
up, dude.
I had an Uber driver, and his wife is from the Ukraine, and it was towards the beginning of COVID, and he said that his because in Australia here they won't let you in even if you're like married to someone, if you're not yet a permanent resident, you're just not coming in. And so he
Damn.
has a child and he has a wife, and they were in Ukraine visiting the family for or like around the holidays, and then COVID happened, and they were in the Ukraine still, and they're not allowed to come back into Australia, just straight up. So he's got a kid and his wife still in Ukraine, almost a year later, like same situation, brand new baby as well. And it's like, dear Lord,
Dude, that's like worst case scenario,
it
bro.
is.
It's like
Well, the
so
biggest thing that I
bad.
worry about too is like I got an older mother. She's gonna be 78 this year, and so like so if
Okay,
anything
okay.
happened to her, like I couldn't leave Australia because I wouldn't be let back in, and and I would be
Right,
back
right.
in rural Montana like twiddling my thumbs. I'd be like, what am I gonna, what's going on here? And I spoke to my mom about it. I was like, please don't get sick, because if I come back, like I won't be able to get I it'll be a really tough decision for me to make, like, do I give it my entire life or what do I do?
Yeah.
And she told me, she said, look, if anything happened and if I died, um there's nothing you can do, so it'd be best if you stayed. I wouldn't want you to be worse off. So that was reassuring, but it wouldn't go without some sort of sense of guilt still. You know what I mean?
Straight up,
Yeah.
dude. Your mom sounds like really forward thinking, really
Mm,
understanding. You know what I mean? She sounds like a really dope lady, man. I feel like a lot of parents won't necessarily take that same stance. You know
mm,
what I mean? A lot of now I just I don't want to bring it back to myself, but a lot of like immigrant parents, like they would, I don't know if they'd get that,
mm,
right? It's all about like, yo, you got to take care of the older
mm,
generation, and you got to make sure they're accounted
mm,
for, and that can derail somebody's life,
mm,
man. Like if you were to pick up and move back here, everything that you set up there is kind of, I wouldn't say it's
mm.
undone, but that's a new
It is.
direction you're taking your
It
shit
is,
in. You
yeah.
know what I
Like
mean?
my income is all based off of people here, and like living over there,
Right.
it just wouldn't happen, And so it would just be like a complete. You have to
Knock on wood,
like
man.
come up with a new scheme of sorts, I suppose. But that's life, I guess. So go with the punches, get stuck in Vietnam, and hopefully get out of it on a plane trip back to Bangkok.
Hey, man, sneaking through the cargo,
Yeah,
bro.
that's
Like,
it.
do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? It's impossible,
Yeah.
bro.
So what's coming up next for you, man? Are you got anything planned with the podcast? Got any things to maybe do a shout out for that I can sort of time this with, or for people to pay attention to coming up on the dates?
You know,
Hmm.
Lacroix. No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
No, nah, man. No, I really just want to keep this a fun thing. I mean, I know we briefly touched on the sponsors and everything
Yeah.
like that. People reach out. Obviously, I have like cannabis content. And like, it's like I'm all in favor of partnering with people. What have you. I would never say no, but it's more like I just want to make sure I'm
Yeah,
having
that's it,
fun.
isn't it?
I want to connect with people who, yeah, I just want to connect with people who like are cool, man. Like, like we connected. I like briefly checked out your stuff. I was like, oh man, this guy seems like he's not like, he doesn't think he's the best in the world. He doesn't think he's hot
Mm.
shit. He might want to have a nice conversation with me,
Yeah.
like let's sit down and chat. I'm having there's this guy I know. He's actually a DJ. He's like a well-known DJ in like the Chicagoland
nice.
area. And he just kind of agreed to do a similar thing with me. And I personally know him, not super well, but we run in the same circles. So I was like, dude, let's talk about your DJ journey, man. Like, he's got a really dope setup. He's really good. He knows how to work a crowd. I love music, so I'm mainly like, yo, just if you have time, jump on with me and like let's have a fun conversation. If not, like, you can fucking tell me to fuck off, man.
That's it.
I'm totally fine in any case, dude, but nothing too crazy, dude. I don't know if you can see, I got this like camera on the tripod back there. So my buddy bought me a like this Sony A6000, right? It's just like I didn't know how nice of a camera it is. It is pretty nice. So some of the things I do, I just try to capture them, and then I try to compile them and throw my audio over them. So like maybe someone can have something to like look at when if they're listening to my podcast. Not that anybody is, but if somebody wants to have something to look at, like I color every day while I listen to like podcasts and stuff like that to turn off the TV and stuff. So I just like have the camera focused on like what I'm coloring, and it's just a little bit something to weigh in on. My fiance watches this video about this YouTuber who tells crime stories while she does her makeup.
Man, crime stories is like a fucking thing now. It's like a big podcast thing.
It's a crazy.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah, dude, it's a big thing, man. It's kind of interesting to listen to. And like I said, this chick just puts on her makeup while she tells crime stories, and within like a couple of minutes, this chick has like millions of views of uploading a video.
Wow.
So I was just like, hey, look, let me mess around with some video editing stuff. And see if that takes at all. Just we're podcasters, might as well be good at our craft.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? But nothing crazy here, man. Just the same old bullshit as usual, right?
I love it. Yeah, I love your approach to it, man. It's nice to like connect with somebody who's got like that positive mindset, and it almost seems like we're kind of on like a similar journey a bit. Doing like podcasts that's fun. It's got like a creative outlet. I enjoy meeting other new people, and I think we should do something again, because I thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you, man, and getting to slightly know you, and then over time let's do some other stuff together.
Dude, I feel like we scratched the surface of a lot of good topics, and we could probably do a whole podcast about every one of those topics.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So, no, dude, I've had a blast, dude. I really appreciate you making the time up with the time difference and everything like that. It's been a fun conversation.
Yeah, same, man. Let's definitely connect again in the future.